You've probably heard a lot of old sayings, but there's an old Indian proverb that's pretty chilling when you think about it. It goes, doubt is the witch, the mind is the ghost. It's a fascinating idea, right? So today, we're going to explore a text that digs into the powerful and sometimes deadly truth behind those exact words.
Okay, so the author we're looking at isn't really trying to prove or disprove the existence of supernatural ghosts. That's not the point. Instead, they make this really interesting distinction, that there are actually two kinds of ghosts we should be thinking about.
So on the one hand, you've got what you might call real ghosts, spirits, external things. But on the other side, you have mental ghosts. And here's the author's main point. These mental ghosts, the ones we literally create in our own heads, are often way more vicious and terrifying. And why is that? Well, you can't exactly run away from something that's already inside you. It follows you everywhere you go, just like your own shadow. All right, so if these mental phantoms are so dangerous, where do they even come from? How are they born? Well, the author lays out this really clear psychological chain reaction, and it all starts with something that sounds almost harmless. You can see how this works step by step. It all kicks off with just a tiny seed of doubt, that little what if voice. And if you let it, that doubt starts to grow into its close cousin, anxiety. From there, anxiety hardens and solidifies into just pure fear. And finally, that fear gets so powerful, it actually creates an illusion, the mental ghost that feels completely 100% real. And just to show how destructive this whole state of mind is, the author uses this incredibly powerful line. It's not just about feeling a little nervous. Unchecked anxiety, they say, is something that can completely consume you, just like a funeral pyre. It's a really serious warning. So to really show us how this all works in the real world, the author shares this incredible story. It's a total cautionary tale about how this exact process can play out. And believe me, the consequences are genuinely terrifying. So the story kicks off pretty simply. You've got two men, and they make a pretty high-stakes bet. What's on the line? A buffalo, which was a big deal. But what was really being tested was one man's courage. And here's the challenge. It's a real doozy. One guy dares the other to go to a cremation ground, a place everyone knows is haunted, at the stroke of midnight, and hammer a nail into the ground just to prove he was actually there. So the man accepts the bet. He starts making his way to this dreaded spot, and you can just imagine the fear building inside him with every single step in the dark. His heart is pounding, he finally gets there, and in his rush to just get it over with and get out, he makes a huge mistake. In the complete and total darkness, as he's hammering that nail into the ground, he accidentally drives it right through the corner of his own dhoti, which is a long piece of cloth men wear in India. He has, without having any idea, just nailed himself to the spot. The job's done. He breathes a sigh of relief and goes to stand up and run. But he's yanked back. He can't get up. And in his mind, which is already just buzzing with doubt and fear, there's only one possible explanation for this. A ghost has got him. And that's it. Absolute terror just takes over. He doesn't stop to check. He doesn't think. He just reacts. He fights so hard against whatever's holding him that he rips himself right out of his own clothes and just flees, screaming into the night. But it was too late. The damage was done. He literally died of fright before he even got home. What a tragic, shocking way to go. But when the villagers went to investigate the next day, they found the nail, and they discovered this simple yet horrifying truth of what really happened out there. So, what was the real killer here? I mean, really. It wasn't some spirit rising from the graves. It wasn't some supernatural curse. So, what was it that actually took this man's life? The author actually gives it a name, the ghost of fear. The man was killed by an illusion, a phantom that was born entirely inside his own terrified mind. That simple tug of his own clothing, seen through the filter of his doubt and anxiety, became a monster powerful enough to literally stop his heart. This story, it's not just a spooky tale. It's a really powerful metaphor. The author uses it to make a much bigger point about how these mental ghosts can affect every single one of us, not just in a haunted graveyard, but in our everyday lives. The author basically argues that most of the time, when we hear about hauntings or paranormal attacks, it's really just this principle at work. Doubt is the witch, the mind is the ghost. And the consequences are no joke. This isn't just a small problem. This is something that can absolutely ruin lives, cause real sickness, and as we just saw, It can even kill. So what do you do about it? What's the solution? Well, according to the author, the answer is as simple to say as it is hard to do. You have to become fearless. The only way to beat these mental ghosts is to see them for what they are, total illusions, and then consciously kick them out of your mind. And that really brings us to the final big question the author leaves us with. It's a challenge, really, knowing that there could be dangers out there in the world, but also inside our own heads. How do we protect ourselves? How do we build up the mental strength to know the difference between a real threat and a ghost of fear that we've accidentally created for ourselves? It's definitely something worth thinking about.